Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Lucas Tyndale Live. So glad to have you guys here today. Thank you all who are joining. If you're here by replay or if you're watching us live, we want to welcome you to the show. We have a great couple with us today that's going to share their story. They're going to talk to us about what it's like being a couple, building a business, and doing all the things that couples do as they try to succeed in life. Raising children, keeping the love alive, all of it. So please make sure you guys are tuned in. Make sure you guys are listening. This is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of you who I know this couple, and I made a post that they're going to be on the show, and you guys went crazy. So I'm really excited. So many people say, oh, we love that couple. That's my favorite couple. And I thought, wait a minute. I thought me and my wife were your favorite couple. What's up with that? I mean, how many favorite couples do you have? I don't know. But I love that you love them because I love them. They are absolutely amazing people. And we're excited to hear their story today. For everybody jumping on and joining us here right now, thank you. If you want to put comments in your comment section, I love that because I can see your comments. I may not be able to respond to every comment, but some of your comments will be featured on the show today. We'll be talking to you guys about what you think and getting your questions. So please participate. Please also share this broadcast. Please. I mean, so many people have reached out to me and shown me so much love and thanked me for doing this show. I'm having a great time. I'm loving it. So please share it with other people so other people can tune in, whatever platform you're on. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, LinkedIn, share this broadcast and participate with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great story. And one thing we're going to do on this show, I think you guys can hear my guests in the background. So that's a new, we're using a new platform. So we're going to see how that goes. So to my guests, they're in the background there. You guys might be able to hear them. Somebody just texted me and said, is that the guests in the background? If you guys can hear them. Let me see if I can control that. Okay, boom. All right. I think I controlled that. You guys let me know how that's going. We are using a new software. So I thank you guys who have been helping me to check and do quality control. For those of you who don't know, so many people reach out to me like, your show is amazing, this stuff is crazy, how'd you learn how to do it? The answer is, I'm still learning how to do it. Like, I'm learning right now. I'm learning live in front of you. I'm learning with all of you. You guys' participation has been amazing. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have made this show go as far as it's gone. You all are the reason why this show keeps getting great, because I've had so many people reach out and shown love and tell me what they love. And then I have my inner circle, my people who reach out and say, hey, this isn't going well, or this didn't work out, or there was an echo, or whatever it is. And we're fixing it as we go. We hope to have a great show today. So I will make sure we get to that. I also want to shout out our sponsor today. I've been talking to you guys about it each and every day. HMA, health matching account. Make sure you go to HMA Enroll to Save. If you want more information, reach out to me. I'm going to be doing a webinar, maybe through this platform, and sharing more information about it really soon. Health matching account is a premier way to save money for healthcare costs. Nobody knows what their healthcare costs are going to look like tomorrow, and your job is not covering everything. You're already paying an arm and a leg, even with your employer covering portions of it. And then on top of it, you have deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses that you're just like, why do I have a bill? I thought I had insurance. So we're really about to help a lot of people with health matching account. If you go through the link, HMA Enroll to Save, that's what we want you to do. Go through the link, HMA Enroll to Save. That's going to help bring in some money for us to continue to do this great work. They are a sponsor of Lucas Live, but you got to use that link in order for it to come back to us. And we're going to be doing a lot of great things. We actually have some giveaways that are coming up this week on the show. And as you guys continue to support this show, more people are supporting this show, and we're going to be able to do more. So I'm so excited about it. I want to thank everybody. Let me just jump over here to the comments real quick. Thank some people who are here. Tyler Thatcher, my friend, thank you for always joining the broadcast. So glad to have you. Lucas Live, hashtag more to do. Shout out to my mom. She said she had more to do. She didn't think she should die because she had more to do. She sadly passed away March 26th, but I'm going to carry it on. My family's going to carry it on. We all have more to do. Shout out to him. To one of my sisters, Tasha Carpenter, thank you for being here. So glad to have you here today. to my friend Aaron Dukes. He said, whoops, LOL. I don't know what you did, my man, but glad you're here. Glad everything is working out. Ebony Woods, she said, yes, my favorite family. Her favorite family is on the show today, so we're excited about that. Ebony, JJ Lilly, Sharice Grantham, thank you for being here. Melvin Williams said, bro and sis about to bless y'all. This is his sister and his brother, so we're so glad that he's here with us today. Mrs. Pope and Hagan, thank you for being here. Jace, Lester Sanders, my lovely wife, Corinne Marie Tyndale, thank you for being in the house today. So glad to have you. So glad everybody's here. Again, if you're watching by replay, stay tuned. This is going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss this episode. Aaron Dukes. Oh, I see you, Aaron. Aaron said, this is where'd he go? He said this was his favorite family. Hold on. Wait, we're going to have a fight here. That was for my favorite family comment. Okay. I thought we was your favorite family, but it's all good, Aaron. It's all love. We're all family here today. So it's all good. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guests. Our goal on this show, this show has been going an hour and a half. You guys have been riding with us, jumping in when you can, listening when you can't, cooking when you got to cook, doing whatever you got to do to make sure you can stay engaged, and I appreciate it. This is a live video podcast. So if you can't watch us, you can still engage with us by listening to it, or listening to the replay. So please make sure you're doing that. Please make sure you're participating in that way. If all you can do is listen, that's great. We're so happy to have you guys, even as listeners. And this will be streamed soon to all the podcast platforms. Had a great discussion today with the guy who's produced hundreds of podcasts, and he wants to support the show. Shout out to everybody who's showing love and support for the show. It's going to help it continue to go and continue to grow. So shout out to that today, and shout out to our sponsor, Health Matching Account. Make sure you check that out at HMA Enroll to Save. So without further ado, I want to bring in our special guest, a beautiful, lovely couple. I know they're a little nervous, coming on to the show. People get a little nervous, but I said we're just going to talk and have some fun, and we're going to show them some love. So everybody, welcome to the show. My good friends, Dave and Keena Woods. Welcome to the show, my friends. Hey, how you guys doing? I don't think they can't hear me. Okay, I'm going to click on over here. Dave and Keena Woods, how you guys doing? Welcome to the show.
Good. How are you?
Wonderful. What's up? I had y'all on mute or something, man. I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? People think I'm ultra professional, and I'm learning on live TV. It's all good, right? It's all good. So you too, people are showing so much love. People were so excited to know that you guys were on the show today. What is it about your love that you think resonates with people? Let's just start with that. Why is it that so many people have found love for your love? What do you think that is?
I mean, I don't know. I think for us, like our relationship has always been very natural. Never really had to force it. It's just, there's a story to it. I don't know if we're going to get into all that, but I think for us, it's just something that we just allow happen, right? We don't force it. We don't try and make it more than what it is. And I think it's just the naturalness of our relationship that's really worked for us.
Awesome. That's beautiful. A lot of people want to have healthy relationships, and that is something we want to talk about today. And I love that people who are seeking love admire love, and that they're not hating on it like, oh, why they look happy? That sucks. I'm sick of them. But instead, they look up to it and they respect it. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And you guys are clearly doing something special, because people are still in the comments talking about how they love your love story. I can't get over it. We got Randy Sistruck, Tasha Ellis, Christina Sanders. People are in the comments just jumping in here so excited about it. So for you guys, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your journey, about your story? Keena, you and I went to high school together. Dave, you and I went to college together, right? So I know you both separately, and I know you guys together. Keena, Dave, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about how did your love story begin?
You want me to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't argue now. Hey, don't argue. Don't be like, you want me to start? You want me to start? You just don't argue. They love your love story, okay?
Ain't no fighting up in here. Ain't no fighting up in here.
No fighting ever. All right, I love it. All right.
All right. So we met at University of Toledo, my second year in college. It was, I think, my first night moving into the apartments. and I live with my best friend Carmen. So we had our first apartment off campus, and our friend Brent, he just randomly picked up Dave because they knew each other from Cleveland, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go to these girls' house?" I'm like, we were just these girls, like we were his friends, like really close friends.
Right.
So he came.
I'm like, let me in.
Where the party at? Where we going?
So he came to our house, and I was in a scarf and basketball shorts because obviously, we were. I think we were both in a relationship at the time.
Okay.
So he just came to our house with Brent, and I'm like, I ain't care. I mean, these boys, okay. Brent is our friend, and I'm like, I got on my pajamas basically.
Right.
So the whole time that he was there, we basically talked about like what our goals were for the year and what we wanted to accomplish. I think that he had just came from the Naval Academy, and I had a freshman year, let's just say,
Okay.
having a lot of fun.
All right.
On the verge of being kicked out. I don't know how many times in college, but
tell the truth. All right.
yeah, I'm just telling the truth. It's just what it is, okay?
Right.
But we just talked about our goals, and I'm like, I like that. I love to set goals, and I love people who inspire me, and to talk to people who are really like just dreaming big. So it was cool, and then I made them pancakes. So
Okay.
That was like always a thing. I made them pancakes, and
the pancakes, ladies. It's the pancakes. All right, she dropping the gems.
You get to the heart, through the belly.
Get to the heart, to the belly. It's the oldest trick in the book, ladies. Don't forsake the basics. All right. Yes. Yes. So she hit you with the pancake magic.
Yeah, we did. So we ended up having a chemistry class together for the entire year. So there were only a handful of us that were,
black people.
Yeah,
no, come on now. We gotta say what it is on this show. There was a handful of us who were tall. Like a few of us who were okay. That's all good.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
It was probably about 10 black students in the class, so we kind of all just set together, a lot of us, just to help each other out because it was a really hard class.
Right.
So we got in the back, all the way in the last row. We sat in the last two rows. So we sat together just about every day, and we got closer, as friends throughout that year. But
beautiful.
We
so y'all hold on now. This is beautiful already. So your love story started. First of all, Keena had her headscarf on and was in her pajamas. She wasn't trying extra hard to impress him, but she did hit him with the pancake magic. Okay, gotcha. And then you guys had chemistry together. That's just amazing. Look at God. Look at y'all. Preach that message now. Y'all had chemistry. Y'all spent a year in chemistry together, building chemistry together. Amen. Look at God. Look at God. God had a plan. So Dave, so picking up the story, Dave, there. So what was it like for you? So you guys chemistry together. Then where does it go from there? Because I know you guys end up with some distance between you. And you can get to that, but we want to talk about that because this show is about education, motivation, liberation. We want to educate the people about some things. We want to motivate them to do something different, and we want to liberate them to be free to live their life. So somebody needs to be set free that it's possible to have a successful long distance relationship. And I'd love for you guys to get there at some point and tell us how can people make it work? Educate them and liberate them. How do you make that work? But Dave, pick up the story there. How did things progress after that?
Yeah, so probably towards the end of that year, I had transferred to Toledo to play football. Allegedly, it didn't quite work out for me. That was back when 9/11 happened. I was kind of on a little ROTC scholarship. I didn't want to go into the military, hence why I left the Naval Academy. I just was trying to go to a college.
Okay.
So I was at a place where I was at a rough spot actually in my life, and I'm like, I was out actually on the railroad tracks once. And it was right behind my little dorm room. And I was just thinking like, I got to get my life together. And it just came to me, I don't know, a flash of inspiration that, maybe I can just move out to Las Vegas, where I had an aunt and uncle living. And I'll go out there and figure out my life because, hey, if you can make it in Vegas, you can make it anywhere.
Exact, Sinatra. If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. All right.
Yeah. So I made that, arrangement, and I remember telling Keena about it, and she was a little sad, that her brother was about to dip. But I said, look, I got to get it together, and but I said, keep it warm for me. I'm gonna call you.
No, wait, hold on now, Keena. he didn't come back with like a half braided afro, half out. Because I saw that on an episode of Martin once. He didn't go off to the Najee Rambam place, did he?
Oh, no, I mean, he did have some braids.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I moved out to Las Vegas, and it was funny. So we weren't like official or anything. At that point, our relationship was just starting to get kind of close. I would say right before I left. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to call her that summer once I got up there and got settled. And I don't know if her bros are on here, but they was hating a little bit. And I was calling, they wasn't giving the messages. And but I was trying, and getting them at first.
Tell the story now. Spill the tea. What? Yeah. The brothers was hating?
Yeah, but but God had a plan, going back to that chemistry. And somehow she did get the message, and she finally called me. And that was kind of when we really started to. She got her hands on my lap. She about to start it over. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because everybody needs to know. I was sitting in my room listening to Nelly and Kelly. No matter what I do, all I think about is you.
Go ahead.
So he called when I was listening to that. So that was just like, wait a minute. It was perfect. But go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. That was just like a perfect moment.
Right. Beautiful. Now, Melvin, hold on. Melvin's on here. He said he on here upset. He like, wait a minute now. He like, he wasn't hating. He said he was just, looking out. I don't know. All right. He on here. He watching.
Bro, that's what a brother's supposed to do.
That's what he's supposed to do. Yep. Yeah. So go ahead. So where was y'all at? So
once I got out there, that's, when we finally started talking, that's when I guess you could say just the beginnings of a long distance relationship started. It wasn't necessarily official from there, but we were kind of cultivating it, I would say, at that point.
Yeah. So that was, Keena, being a woman, and having a connection with this guy, what did it feel like being in a long distance relationship, and how did you trust him in Vegas?
I know, of all places. Right?
Sin City. I don't know if y'all been to Vegas or seen the pictures, but there's a lot of legal stuff that ain't legal nowhere else in Vegas. I'm not saying Dave was into any of that. I'm just saying if there's temptation anywhere, it's there. How did you trust him during the distance?
He was in church no, I'm just playing.
Every day.
He wasn't even safe. So what's funny, like right after that, we were not together. So we just talked every now and then on the phone. That was like 2001 when he left. I'm sorry, 2002. So we didn't officially get together until 2005. Like spring of 2005 before I graduated. I don't know. I'm just a very loving person, and I just see the best in people. So I think that's really what my mindset was with him. It wasn't like, I wasn't focused on any past experiences. I mean, I had past experiences where I was played, you know what I mean? But I just don't know. I never looked at him as that person. And maybe because it really started out as us truly being friends before there was any type of like a thought of a relationship. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just did. I guess I'm really trusting until, you give me a reason to not trust.
That's important. And thank you for saying that. That's excellent. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I'll just add too. So one of the things that has been like a key secret for our relationship is that, one of the things about Keena that I don't know if everybody was aware, but, she saved herself for marriage. And I always looked at that as something that I had to be, as we grew in our relationship, but I always valued that and certainly respected it. And I remember thinking at the time, like, part of my time being in Vegas, right, was I was almost looking forward to the challenge of almost like proving God that I was worthy to, I don't know, potentially be her husband one day, recognize the sacrifices she made because, part of our story, we were together, I guess, long distance for 2.5 years. Now we only saw each other 18 days, right, out of that 2.5 years. And that was when she would come out and take a couple trips out to Vegas. Now, mind you, that was back when cell phones was free nights and weekends. So
you can't use your anytime minutes, not all the time. You can't use your anytime minutes.
FaceTime and no nothing. You really had to talk. Like we would fall asleep on the phone together, that type of thing. But I always honored her commitment and her sacrifice to what she was committing to do to her future husband. which entailed, when she would come out to visit, she would sleep in my bed and I might sleep on the couch or the floor.
That's
I
big.
wouldn't put ourselves in those types of situations. So, a lot of going back to your first question about our relationship, I think a lot of what we have today was built off sacrifice.
Yeah.
It was a sacrifice of long distance. It was a sacrifice that she made, her commitment to purity and saving herself for marriage.
Yeah.
Me honoring that, so there's a lot of things that happened pre-marriage, right, that took place that I think really set the stage for what we have today. It's not like, it just came to be out of nothing. There was a lot of things that when it was just me and her going through it and nobody else around to see it, right, when she's coming out to Vegas, coming out to see this little light-skinned boy with the curly hair before it was gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hey, we on the P's and Q's.
Right.
And it was all good. So, that was just one of the key elements for us. And so I worked at a retail store called BB. Some of the women might be familiar with it. Now, this was the one on the fashion show mall, that was frequented by industry type of females and whatnot. And I would be in some tough situations sometimes where I was doing stock, but people wanted me to come check out an outfit in the dressing room or something like that, little stuff here and there.
Wow.
And I always had to be conscientious just of my decisions, because I think for long distance to work, you have to be able to honor that other person when they're not around to see you doing so, right? Because God does.
Wow.
And that was really one of those key things for me, because I know he put me there. I wasn't even looking for that job. It kind of came to me, and it's like, I'm the only male working here. Like, why this place out of all of them? But I recognize it, right? It was just a continuing on that journey that I was on towards, again, honoring her commitment to him, and trying to set the stage for our future marriage.
That's big. Look at that. Look, she getting excited again. Like, oh, that's so sweet. That's so cool. And ladies, I've had a few good men on this show already, and you guys have seen, and I think a lot of women out there, to the single ladies, to all the single ladies out there, you wonder if there's any good men left. And the reality is there are good men out there, but you have to position yourself to get what you want. And even unto God, like, you can't be doing whatever you want to do, living however you want to live, and say, God bless me. God is like, bless what? Like, you don't even follow me. I'm not even your Lord. Lord as in ruler, controller, the one who tells you what to do. How do you want me to bless you when you won't even go down the roads I tell you to go down? You won't talk to the people I tell you to talk to. You won't engage in the things that I tell you to engage with. And furthermore, you won't build a relationship with me. Why in the world would a jealous God give you a man that's going to only cause you to go further away from him? It's not going to happen. It's not of God. Keena, you are committed to God. Tell us about the wait, okay? You were doing the wait before the book came out, it sounds like, before Making Good made it sound good. You were waiting on marriage. That is unheard of. Going away to college and waiting and being abstinent and not having sex. Are you kidding? How and really why? Because a lot of Christians still can't figure that out. How did you do it? Why did you do it?
So why? I think initially it started out as the fear of my mom.
Okay.
Because let's just be honest, is that I was not saved until I got saved the night of 9/11.
Wow.
Yeah, because that was like, that kind of wrecked me. And I'm like, that really showed me, even like now, like nothing is promised.
Yes.
And I'm like, just like that, our country was like turned upside down, it seemed like. Yeah. So before that, it was like the fear of my mom. And I'm a natural people pleaser. I want people to be happy. I want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
So I just felt like that was the right thing. We were not raised in church. Like, we went to like missionettes at Trinity with my grandmother.
Okay.
But that was really like, we went go with my aunt, but that was the extent of it. So it wasn't until I got to college that my why became my relationship with Jesus. And really just wanting to wait to honor him, to honor like the gift that he's given me. And I'm like, we didn't have a lot of women around us telling us not to do that. I don't know. I just had it set in my heart, like, this is what I'm doing. And I even like went so far and introducing myself to some, like, our freshman year. Hey, I'm so-and-so, and I'm waiting till I'm married.
Wow.
And it was just like super extra. But I'm like, man, I made that stand. So with a lot of the football players, like, they were like brothers. They were cool. They respected me, because they knew where we stood.
Right.
We were friends with them, but everybody knew where I stood. So it wasn't really too many people like trying to take advantage. I even had somebody like, who I was talking to say, "Oh no, you're not trying to have sex. So I'm not going to talk to you." And I still I'm like, that was like the biggest blessing, because you know what? I'm like, that was nothing but God protecting me.
Wow.
Because somebody could have taken advantage of me,
Yes.
and I'm like, and I can say I had daddy issues. So I talked to a lot of people because my dad wasn't around. So I was like looking for that love and that attention in guys,
Yeah.
but I thank God that I never ever took it further than that. You know what I mean? So it's
Beautiful.
a blessing, like nothing but God's grace, honestly. So
Beautiful. Beautiful story. You guys, I have to pause for a second because the comments are popping in left and right. I try not to get too caught up in the comments. I try to hit the comments here and there at the beginning of the show and throughout, but they're just going off and going off. People are just really loving your love story, loving what you guys are sharing. You guys are already educating, motivating, and liberating people already. Tasha Ellis says, amen. Cassandra Brooks says, love it. Love the story. Ebony Accurate, our good friend, she said, temptation. That temptation is real. She also was celibate for a period of years, for a period of 10 years. After having, been sexually active, she chose to be abstinent for 10 years and found her husband and was married at 45 years old. So shout out to her. She has a beautiful story as well and an amazing book for everybody to check out. Check out Ebony Accurate if you're not connected to her. Sharice Grantham says, their love is beautifully based off of a solid, respectful foundation. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Tyler Thatcher says, there's good men and good women. They're still out there. They do still exist, ladies and gentlemen. But if you're not a good man or good woman, it's going to be hard to connect with one. All right? And as good as we often think we are, we're not always willing to make the extra sacrifices as Keena was willing to make. And Keena, your story is fascinating because to so many women, they would wait if they could wait, but they feel like the guys won't wait, so they don't wait. Okay?
listen, sorry, you see me? I'm like, forget them. Like, I don't care.
Tell them.
Listen, it's like nobody is worth it.
Yeah.
We even had and I'm just gonna say, like, somebody I talked to, a church boy, and I said, this is what I stand for. Oh yeah, I'm good. So 2 to 3 weeks later, oh, I can't do this. Of course you can't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Number one, because you're not the right person. But a few months after that, when David and I got serious, and he said, I want to be committed to you, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Once he finds out what I stand for, and then I'm really not gonna budge, he'll probably be gone too. And he stuck around. You know what I mean? So that was huge. But I'm like, they're not worth it. If they don't want to wait, they're not worth it. Like, you don't have to give anything up.
I love it.
Listen, I'm sorry. It makes me mad. Forget them. Okay?
Right.
Because honestly, if they can't respect you now, and respect what your wishes are, I know it's one thing. He never harped on me about going to church. He never harped on me for my commitment to God. He never talked down on me when my college studies. When I was trying to graduate, he actually paused on calling me for a couple months. I'm like, where is he at? Because he was trying to help me graduate.
Wow.
And I was mad. Okay, I was so mad.
Oh,
She's like, oh, you don't care about me, huh?
Everybody's like, well, where's Dave? Where's Dave? David's right here. No, I'm just playing. Right
Dave, I got my man. Right. I'm holding on to my man.
Right. But I'm like, I don't know. But
that's big.
The people who are worth being there, will wait for you, no matter what.
People, I'm telling you, they're going crazy in the comments. The people who are worth waiting for will wait for you. The people who are worth being with will wait for you. The crazy thing is, what people think is, they think the other person doesn't value me enough to wait. No, you don't value you enough to wait. And Keena, you clearly valued yourself enough. And because you valued yourself enough, you found a man that even in Sin City, off in Vegas, was careful, conscious, and keeping himself for you. If that can happen, if that can work, ladies and gentlemen, whatever city you live in, wherever the guy is who you're talking to, it's possible if he's truly committed to you. Now, I think you guys said, Dave, you weren't saved at the time. I think you guys may have said something about that. Clear that up, because normally I'd be like, well, he got to be a God-fearing man. That's the only way he's going to do it. This is a new wrinkle, so help us understand what that was like.
Yeah, no, I definitely wasn't. Keena actually was the reason for leading me to Christ. Actually, she came out to Vegas, one of maybe the second or third trip when I actually got saved and baptized. But I was in the world, right?
Right.
I I had been kicking it since the ninth grade, going out, doing all sorts of foolery.
Right.
And I got my kids here, so I can't get too descriptive. They don't know about their
They're
daddy
like,
yet,
Daddy?
but they will one day. And
Right.
but anyway, I was out there, and but it didn't obscure from, like, again, what I valued in the person, right?
Right.
Because I wasn't abstinent up until marriage, obviously, and so. Even to make that shift, right? It was a conscious effort on my part to where, I had to more so do it for the future versus the present, right? And I think that's where a lot of people fall. Like, they might think they can do it, but they're too focused maybe on, short-term gratification or whatnot versus seeing a long-term vision with maybe this individual. And that's how I looked at it. And I think what really helped me, but I'm going to be honest, it wasn't that hard because, again, I respected what she was doing because I didn't know anybody like her,
Wow.
number one. And it helped me kind of like learn a lot in just, the power and strength of a woman, right? Wow. That somebody could do, because I wasn't around females that were like that. So it was great. And again, so she hung with me, right? Because, part of being married is part of being equally yoked.
Right.
With one. So, I don't recommend people getting married where one is saved and one isn't. And, well, I'm just going to lead them to Jesus after the wedding.
Right.
That's a risky proposition. Not saying it can't happen, but I did get saved prior to getting married. She came out there, as I said, and she was just on it. And what was great is just that part of what led me to Christ was just seeing her walk, right? Just seeing her commitment to, I'm out here, gallivanting, doing whatever, but we on the phone Saturday night where she got to go to church tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see where I'm gonna stay out at 3 a.m. And go hang out. But so it just wore me down, where it's just like, man, she's serious about this. There's something to this, So my interest obviously peaked, and I knew of God. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I wasn't living for him, and whatnot, and certainly not when I first got out to Vegas. But again, it was a lot of strength, a lot of sacrifice, and again, that just for us really laid a key foundation. I did have another thing to add, but I'll let you go ahead.
No, please do. Go ahead. People they want to hear the story. You go for it.
So after one of the other key things that I wanted to mention, actually, you should talk about what you prayed for.
Tell us what you prayed for, Keena. Hey, Dave, I'll ask the questions on here. Don't be trying to set up stuff. I thought that was my job, brother. I mean, no, okay, I'm going to have you. I see you. You go co-host with me one day. I feel it. I can feel it. All right. Keena, what did you pray for? Why don't you tell our audience?
Question.
Thank you.
No, so at one point during that year that I met Dave, I don't even know why, because I know I was in a relationship for a while. And then I became single. So I don't know when I made this list, but I had a list of everything that I wanted in a man. And it was
this is key information, ladies.
This is probably like over 30 things that I wrote down. And I'm like, okay, I want him to be like 6'4". And this is like the shallow stuff, because I don't remember all the other details.
Right.
I want him to like hold my hand. I want him to open doors. I want him to have thick eyebrows and curly hair and light skin and all of these things. And it was just so crazy because so many of the things that I prayed for, that and I had on that list is what I got. So it was almost like, yeah, you write the vision and you make it plain. And it doesn't mean that God is going to send somebody that is exactly like what you think, because he knows better than we do what we need. Like I had no idea what God would give me and who God would send for me. But I don't think there's anything wrong with writing the vision, writing out what you desire. But also, when you're setting these high expectations, make sure that you're able to live up to that too. If you're going to want somebody opening doors for you, make sure you're reaching over to unlock the door after they've opened it. Just different things. It can't just be what they do, but make sure that you can match up and that you're striving to be what you want them to be for you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. You wrote the vision and made it plain. That is such an important scripture for us to realize, is that God is calling us to ask for what we want, but prepare for it as well. Because we think God is not some kind of silly genie. This is not Aladdin. God does not have to give you anything. And when we're not prepared for stuff, why would he give a good man to somebody who's not prepared? Why would he give a good woman to somebody who's not willing to honor her? So we both have to be situated. And you guys talked about it earlier, being equally yoked. being able to walk in step together, both willing to follow God. It's also a fascinating story that neither one of you were like these church people your whole life. So to the people out there who are watching this who are not saved or who, have not accepted Christ into their life, you're not, the scum of the earth. There's nothing wrong with you. You just haven't come to the saving knowledge of Christ. That's okay. But stories like this, I hope, will inspire you to at least want to know a little bit more and say, what is it about that God that is changing lives and doing things and answering prayers, even down to the thick eyebrows and curly hair? Ain't God? He can do. Won't he do it? Won't he? He'll give you thick eyebrows if you want thick eyebrows, ladies. All right, curly hair if you want curly hair, or like
from the
Ruda to the tutor, whatever that means. That is urban colloquialisms. From the Ruda to the tutor. He will give you everything you want. I got to shout out. Your brother said, Keena, your brother said, tell him about the phone dates. Tell us about, you guys went on dates over the phone. This is how you're going to have a successful long-distance relationship, ladies and gentlemen, or a quarantine relationship right now. If you're not, you got to be apart because you don't know him that well and you're not willing to get sick for him. Tell us about phone dates. How you do that?
Yeah, I will. That's actually what I was going to say before I had the prayer come in. So good looking out, bro.
Okay.
But yeah, so as we got, more involved within our relationship, right? And, again, this is back when you just had limited cell phone talk time, free nights and weekends. Mm-hmm. So we would do our dates, our long distance dates on the weekends typically. And we would go out to dinner or go out to lunch where I go to my favorite. Actually, I was living in Tucson, Arizona at the time. So I had took a new job with the company I was with. So I would go to my favorite restaurant. It was called Claim Jumper. And I would, order a meal. I call Keena and I set my phone up and we just be eating and talking, and didn't think none of it. It was just normal to us, like not awkward. I don't know where you went. You might have went to different places. You were in Chicago, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was in Chicago.
But yeah, we would do phone dates, right? Just going out to eat and just talking, right? Just like they was right there. Probably had more conversation like that than people do now because, they be on their phone scrolling.
Right.
So we had to get creative, right? Mm-hmm. Where, even if it was watching a movie or watching something on TV, but you just had the phone there communicating. So we didn't allow distance to dictate our ability to grow and to have and to interact with one another. We still did it. And all those little things definitely played a part.
Wow.
If you want to change that.
Go ahead, Keena, what you got?
No, it was just awkward at first, like going to a restaurant because I am a people person. For me, it was awkward going to a restaurant by myself. It was the weirdest thing ever. Mm-hmm. But like once I felt like once we sat down and got on the phone, it was like I wasn't even by myself.
Yeah.
We were together, doing it together, but it did make it easier to be apart. Like you said, 18 days is what we've seen each other over the course of a couple of years. So it did help. And
I'll share one other thing, really, that, again, foundation laying. One of the key things for us, and this is when I was in Tucson, financially, neither one of us were doing that great. And we had somehow got to a point where it seemed like every other payday, we were both Western Union and money back and forth to each other, paying each other's rent or bills or whatever. We were sharing money through Western Union. I still remember this old dusty gas station I would go to go send her some money and vice versa. And so even that, like God was preparing us for really the way in which we operate with finances now, because from the beginning, one of the first things we did before we got married is we opened up a joint bank account. So for money for us has just never, ever pretty much been an issue, because, it's one of the leading causes of divorce. Not that we did it because of that, but we got that premise laid out real early, and what's mine is yours and what's yours is mine, and all those little things. Again, this is long distance, right? You sending me part of your check to this guy, in Tucson. Now she know me by now, but again, all those little things were being done before we got married, which again were steps being taken prior to the way we operate today.
I absolutely love that, and I want ladies and gentlemen to be thinking about this. We're going to have some discussions on the show sometime where it's just open discussion. where we talk about things like blending finances in a relationship. And when do you do it? Do you wait till you're married? Do you do it before you're married? I mean, there's people doing a lot more married-like stuff before they get married, but thinking about those things and how do you do that? Also thinking about who makes more money. Okay, now that is a topic that I think is so important. Now, in their case, they were in college. Didn't nobody have money. It was just like, I got money one week, you got money the next. Let's keep working it out with each other. But I think that's an important discussion to have, that when you really blend things, I hope that becomes a non-issue, but it's not always a non-issue, and I think that's a topic that we're going to have to tackle in a future episode of this, so I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. Shout out to Miss Shirley Weatherspoon, to the beautiful, wonderful mother of Keena. She said, Dave, I'm so glad you went to the railroad tracks. I don't know what that means, but there must be some story behind it. Dave, can you help us understand? There's a story behind the railroad tracks, I'm guessing. You want to help us understand?
No, that was where I came to, again, that epiphany that I needed to go to Vegas. I was out, it was 3 a.m. in Toledo on this backwood railroad tracks. I'm out there by myself, and, it was just like the clouds opened up, and I saw the casino lights and said, come to me.
It was a
He didn't really see that, so y'all don't think he's crazy, no?
She's trying to clear it up. He's not crazy, I promise. That's how you know somebody think their husband crazy. I tell y'all, he ain't crazy.
Might have seen it.
Right. After the show, she's like, Dave, did you really see that?
Cash App $5 for your own epiphany. No, I'm playing.
Right. Cash App right now, $5 at Dave Woods. $ Dave Woods. So you guys have gone on to build a family. I'd like to, in our last 20 minutes, talk a little more about the family and the business, and other things that you guys are working on individually and as a couple. So let's start first with children. You guys don't have one, not two, not three. You guys are like LeBron with championships. I just kept seeing y'all posting these beautiful babies. I was like, another beautiful baby. And you'd be like, a little bit later, another year or two later, another beautiful baby. Tell us a little bit about that journey and what that was like. And it's my understanding you guys didn't use birth control, but you prayed about planning your parenthoods, and somehow it worked out. Tell us about being parents and kind of that journey for you guys.
Okay, so we actually, I think when we first got married, we did pray that we would have a baby. I never wanted to take something that would alter my body. So that was our choice, no judgment on anybody else, but that was for me. I was like, I don't want to take anything that will alter my body in any way. So we prayed that we would have a baby in 2 to 3 years. And we got pregnant 2 weeks. We found out 2 weeks after our 2-year anniversary that we were pregnant with our first daughter, Carlin, who is 10 now. So it was amazing, like that it worked the way that we prayed for.
Wow.
So Carlin was 6 weeks, around that time babies turn 6 weeks. So you're like, okay, we got to get ready. So we prayed again that we would have a baby in 2 to 3 years. And then we found out 2 weeks after Carlin turned 2 that we were pregnant again. So after Kaiser, he was our second born, our son, he's 7 years old now. Mm-hmm. When he was 2, we found out 2 weeks before he turned 2, that we were pregnant again. So every time the babies would turn 6 weeks, we would pray that we would get pregnant in 2 to 3 years. We never took anything. We never stopped anything. We just let God be God. And I felt like if we trusted him when we were ready, he would cover us when we weren't, So he like truly gave us the desires of our heart. Like for the last, when Camden, our 5-year-old, was 6 weeks old, we prayed again, and we ended up actually getting pregnant sooner than we thought. So our last baby, Caden, was born about a month before Camden turned 2. So it was a little different than our timeline, but I think that our attitude throughout all of it is like, we have these desires, God, but whatsoever your will is, because you know better than me. And he knew that at that time, Caden needed to be born. He knew at that time that our family needed her, or whatever purpose he had for her, that it needed to be fulfilled at that time. So
Beautiful. That's
kind of been our journey. It's just been a blessing just to trust God
right.
Throughout all of it. So
that's beautiful. Such a beautiful story. Amazing again that God is answering your prayers to the T. I'm going to send you a list of my prayers a little bit later today, because apparently you and God is pretty tight.
I'll write them in my book.
Okay. Appreciate that. Prayer requests. Please send them.
He's so good. He's so good. He's not a respecter of persons. Like, everybody can do this. Like, we have the ability to go straight to God and ask for what we desire.
That's beautiful.
So what he did for us, he wants to do for everybody else.
I love it. Now, I have to rewind back. I have to respect one of our loyal fans, a friend to the show, a friend of mine, a friend of yours. Miss Latasha Ellis said, we need to hear how Dave proposed, okay? She wants to hear the story. Apparently she knows. Maybe it's something embarrassing and she's trying to call y'all out in front of everybody because she already knows. I don't know. But if you'd like to share that story, I think the people want to hear it, or at least Tasha does.
Oh, it's okay. It's just, 3 a.m. at Waffle House. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No.
Real simple stuff, everyday stuff.
Yeah. So appreciate that, Tasha. So again, long distance, right? So it's like, well, how did you, bridge the gap, right? So I'm in Tucson. I was working for a company called 84 Lumber. I was a manager. Keena was in Chicago. She was working for Boys and Girls Club. And so we knew we wanted to get married, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually had a friend who worked with me, and just out of nowhere one day, this was prior, but he just said, Dave, when you going to start thinking about your family? And at first I thought he was talking about my family back in Cleveland, where I'm from, but he was talking about future family. And it kind of stuck with me, and it just kind of, blossomed over time. And long story short, we got to a point where one of us was going to have to make a move. And I had been looking for that answer, and it just came one day at work. Literally, I was at work. I was doing my thing. I had got into it with one of my coworkers, and I'm out again walking. That's usually when stuff kind of happened to me. I was in the warehouse walking, and I said, you know what? This is my out. And I just made a decision right there. I just quit on the spot. Turned in my keys. Probably a day or so later, I went and bought some new tires for my car, because I planned in my mind that I'm gonna have to drive to propose. So pretty much I packed up all that I could in my apartment in my 2-door Ford Explorer. I gave all my furniture to my next door neighbor. Didn't sell a thing, just gave it to him. He probably still standing out there like, I don't believe this brother did that. And he took all the stuff. Like, again, my car had just got broken into. And I had no radio. I had to MapQuest and print out a diagram because, no GPS, no nothing.
MapQuests.
From Tucson to Chicago. And I printed it out. So I'm sitting in my 2-door Explorer. I'm packed to the brim. Nothing on the top, no wagon, no nothing. Just everything I could bring in there. And all I had really to keep me going after I had bought a ring, bought the tires. I had pretty much just had enough money for gas and food. And so I drove 28 hours straight. Didn't stop for nothing but that. I had a ring, and I had a CD player, and I had Michael Jackson's Greatest Hits.
Hey, and that'll ride. You can ride to that.
Yeah. Me and MJ was getting it. Billie Jean was working it through.
Living off the wall. I got it.
And whatnot. So 28 hours. Finally got to Chicago. And I'll let you tell that part.
Yeah, so we were supposed to do a date over the phone that night. But let me rewind. A week before that, I was supposed to be flying out that weekend, the next weekend, to help him move. So, obviously I had no idea all of this was taking place. So that night I was promoting for a big event that we had at Boys and Girls Club for, I think it was Mexican Independence Day. And so I was out passing out flyers because I was a director then. So I'm like, I had a huge event the next day. So we were supposed to do a date, and I was just so tired. And I'm like, I don't feel like, going anywhere. So I'm just going to get some Dairy Queen and go back to the house. So I was living with my cousins at the time in Elgin, right outside of Chicago. And nobody was home, just me. So I'm on the phone with Dwayne Broyles, actually, which is so crazy. He was playing overseas. Wow. And we were on the phone, and I get Dave called me and said, hey, how do you make fried chicken? So I'm like trying to explain to him, and I'm like, I should have known something was up then, because this guy never cooked stuff like that. He cooked like chili out of a can, Do you remember that?
Yeah, I eat a little Hormel chili. That's fine.
Ain't nothing to be ashamed of. Brother was single.
Oh man, struggle butter.
I'm just saying. So I should have known something was up. But so I ended up telling him, and then he's like, okay, I'll call you back. So a little bit later, I heard like the doorbell ring. And I'm like, nobody comes there for me because I only knew like maybe 10 people in town outside of my Boys and Girls Club families.
Right.
So I go down to the door. I don't see anybody there. And I'm freaking out, obviously, because I'm by myself and it's dark. And I'm like, well, that's probably just people playing on the door because everybody was drinking and partying because it was Mexican Independence Day. So I go back upstairs and get settled in, and the doorbell rings again. And I'm like, oh, crap. Like, what is happening? So I grab scissors. And I go down the steps, and I see
Whoa, you grab scissors because you about to kill somebody.
I'm not playing. I don't know what's happening, but I had to get the scissors.
They was going to die today. It was about to go down. Okay. Yes.
They were.
All right.
Got to cut you.
I might have to cut you.
So I go downstairs, and I see, like, this image pass across the door. And then I'm like, okay. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, so, but it was nothing like I was the Holy Spirit. I feel like open the door. And I opened the door, and here it is. Dave is out right outside the door.
Wow.
So I was just like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, let me have the scissors.
Man, she took a swing at me.
Oh, did she? Okay. Even when she saw it was you, she still had to take one swing. Like, I got the scissors now. Somebody got to get cut. Somebody got to go. So Dave, so he's standing there at the door with all his stuff, but the brother ain't got no job, man, because he done walked off the job. Unemployed. Everything he owns is in his truck. He done gave away everything valuable. He rolling in with a little bit of something, and then where did it go from there? So then it was like some proposal right in that moment, or was it days later? What happened? Tell us about it.
No, just right when the coast was clear and I got them scissors out of her hand.
Okay.
I proposed, and so this was what, September, right?
16th, yeah.
Yeah, so this is September, and so I proposed. I stayed the night. We almost went to jail. That same night. That's another story.
No,
Jesus, this was a family show. Y'all messing up my family show. What is going on? Scissors, jail.
Anyway.
And even one thing too, that night that we got engaged, we still slept separate.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got a hotel, and he slept on the couch in the hotel, and I slept in the bed.
I hey, wait, real quick. Dave, I'm sure you were down. Dave, you said even the night we got engaged, we still slept separate. Dave said, yeah, we did. Yeah. like I kind of have my fingers crossed. Like, we almost married, you know what I mean? But
ain't nothing changed. I think it was my idea to get the hotel and sleep separate.
Okay.
But anyway, so yeah, we did. And actually, I went back I drove back to Cleveland, that day. And my parents, I'm a little different, if you get to know me, but my parents didn't even know that their son had did all this. So I show up at their door about the time I get there at like 3 a.m. again, like, hey, they about fell out. And I had to explain to them what happened. So this is September. And again, I want to mention this because I think it's part of the sacrifice to what we have today. But so we start talking about wedding plans, right? So I'm living in Cleveland. She's in Chicago, and we're trying to plan a wedding. And that's, and so she wanted to do it originally in the summer. But I've been waiting. So I'm like, we need to do this year. And so we decided to get married.
He was like, hey, we better back that wedding up. I can't wait.
So we ended up deciding to get married on New Year's Eve. And I'll be honest, like, if it wasn't for really mainly Keena's family and partly mine, but really all of our extended family really lending a hand, doing all that they could to really support us getting married, it wouldn't have happened in that way because, again, I'm unemployed. I kind of got a little jobby job, but we didn't have no money. And I'm like Tommy out here. Like, where are you working at today?
Right.
And
went from the white building to the black building, man. You ain't going under the places. You ain't got no job, man.
So, everything literally fell in place, for us on a budget. And we ended up, getting married on New Year's Eve. And here's a little secret. If you want to spend some time with your spouse and you have a wedding on New Year's Eve, don't serve no liquor at your reception because they'll be out within an hour.
If you want everybody out of there, no liquor at the reception.
Oh, they ate that food, and they was out. They was taking some plates. They like, I got to get to the party. They ain't see no champagne flowing, nothing.
It was a little too dry up in there. They rolled out.
And so I got to, we actually were out of there, and somehow we spent the night we were able to see the ball drop, by midnight and whatnot. So that was just the start of it. So again, it was, me leaving everything. All of this was, again, just all sacrifice. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that is what, again, I believe, and I know in my heart, lends to what we have today, and doing all those things, taking all these steps, forgoing temptation, forgoing desire, forgoing self, all those things, buying into what someone else's desires are, being able to support their wishes, how they want to live their life. Because I know we're getting up on time a little bit here, but part of what we do today with, her and her business endeavors, it's just an extension of that. Me getting behind her, or vice versa, her getting behind me when I left my job at Nationwide. We've always been in that mode of supporting each other's wishes and desires. And it's just been pretty seamless because we've been doing it from the start.
That's amazing. And I would thank you for saying that. Very motivating. I mean, for people to realize it's about supporting each other. A marriage is about a selfless act of going toward the other person with love and support and encouragement. And on the other hand, the other person is coming at you with the same thing, and you meet somewhere in the middle. But the fight is not, I need more and I need more. It's, I need to give more and I need to give more. And if we're both willing to give more love, encouragement, and support, that's where healthy relationships are born. That's the foundation of it all. But too many people go into a relationship talking about what they want instead of what they're willing to give, and they can't figure out why they can't have a successful relationship. If two people are looking to give, it can work. So you guys, thank you guys for breaking that down. Now, before we go, I really do want to hear the story of Sugar Baby's cookies, okay? Because I've personally purchased a Sugar Baby cookie or two. And at times, I only told my family that I had a few, and I had a few more, but I just couldn't stand to give away too many of these things. They were so delicious. Can you guys tell us a little bit about the birth of your business and how that came about and how that's played into your marriage?
Okay, so, it's our business.
It's our business.
Okay, so
somebody got to taste the cookies.
Right.
Yes.
Back in when we lived in Canton, I started selling chocolate chip cookies a while ago, and I just did it maybe for a month, if that, and it didn't really produce. It just wasn't something. Let me back up. I had a little baby boy and a toddler girl, our first two kids. So it really wasn't the season for that. Like 4 kids later, it is the season. It's still crazy now. But Dave, after he left Nationwide, he just always told me, like, you could sell these, and other people told me you could sell these. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should try. And Dave always said to me, what is your oil? He talks about the widow who had the 2 sons, and her husband died, and she had debt, and she needed to pay her debt, and she went to the prophet Elisha and said, I have nothing in my house but a little bit of oil. And he instructed her to go around to the village and collect all the jugs that she could. And God blessed her and provided all the oil she needed to fill up those jugs. So David would always ask me, like, what is your oil? Like, what do you have that you can do, number one, to monetize, and use your gifts? And that was what really Sugar Babies was birthed off of. What is your oil? That what is your oil question. So we started in Thanksgiving 2018 was our first holiday selling. So we would just do holidays for a while. And I think I only sold like maybe 3 different things. And only one of those things is still on the menu now, and that's the chocolate chip cookies. Wow. But it's just been growing, and it's been a blessing just to see it. It's just so crazy, just the places that it's taken us. We have big dreams, and really just the goal is just to leave a legacy for our kids, because we want to break these generational curses as far as finances. We want to have real true wealth, to leave for our children and our children's children. Like, we don't want them to have to struggle. Yes, work hard, but we don't want them to struggle.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I love it. It's a legacy. It's more than just you. It's more than just right now. It's more than just delicious cookies and cakes and things. It's about building something for your family. Now, you have 4 kids, right?
Right.
So 4 kids now, busy. You live in Florida. You guys drive up to Ohio, and you're selling cookies, and you're trying to do all this. Most people say that when their children are grown, then they'll be what they were going to be. And then their children get grown, and then they chase their children around to college and to their sports, and they say, well, I sacrificed my life so that my kids could have a life. But meanwhile, every generation is just treading water, and nobody's able to build the legacy. So for you, tell us a little bit about that. You're saying your desire is to not make any excuses, not to let children or anything else slow you down, but to start building the legacy today.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I've always said from the start, like our kids joined our life. You know, they didn't come, and yeah, they changed us in certain ways, but they didn't come and just stop everything. There were some things that had to go on pause for seasons, and that's okay. You know, and there are seasons for everything. And I think now, you know, we preach to them all the time, like we're building a legacy, we're building something big, we're trying to do this for you guys. But they have come and they come along and they are living our life with us. We're not going to say, oh, well, you have all these sports. No, sign them up for less sports. Oh, you have these activities. No, sign them up for less activities. Like your child does not have to do every single thing. Yes,
you cussing somebody out now. You telling some people off with that.
Sorry.
And you come from a sports family, and you're telling us it's okay to sign them up for less sports. Keep going down that lane. Tell us what we need to do.
And this is the thing, though. We've had we had a crazy year financially last year, and yes, as our finances grow, we will put our children into more activities. But one thing it's not going to disrupt, our goal is to never let it disrupt church, you know, in our relationship with God. Our goal is to never let it disrupt our family life, and having this quarantine time has really showed us that it's okay to slow down. You know, like your child does not, I don't want to I know that sports are important and they teach a lot of good lessons. But if it is disrupting your family time where your family has not sat down and had a meal together in months or weeks, like you got to get back to the basics, get back to family, get back to your first ministry, your first priority. And we do come from a sports family. And I tell people all the time, like this runs deep in us. This is not just, oh, my son's playing football. No, his uncle went to the NFL. You know, his other uncle played two uncles played in the NBA. You know what I mean? So this is not like I get it. Sports are important. Yeah. But if it's disrupting your calling and your gifts, like it's okay to put some things on pause for a season. Because if you just maybe skip a season when they're 7 and you go really hard at what you are called to do, you might not ever have to skip another season, because then you have employees and things like that you have to help fulfill the vision that you have. I don't know. I'm not trying to cuss anybody out. No.
Hey, I mean, apparently you were, because you just cussed a whole bunch of people out, and they try to be nice and put their hands up in the comments. But I love it. It's the truth.
We have a purpose, and God has a plan for us. Like, don't wait until you're 50. And that's one of my biggest concerns, is to leave this earth without fulfilling what God has given me. And there's so many things. As soon as I started Sugar Baby, somebody got an MLM. Somebody want me to sell this. Somebody want me to do this. And I've just had to say, absolutely not. Like, I have my blinders on. I am focused on one thing, and this is what we're gonna focus on. This is what we're gonna push for. So if we're going to sports activities, guess what? We're taking cookies to the coaches. We're passing them out to the team for snacks. You know, so everywhere we go, like, we live Sugar Babies. Like, we are giving these cookies to whoever we can, wherever we go. So yes, while we might be at some sports, you better believe that our business is coming with us.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. You guys are an inspiration to so many. Your love, your family, your legacy, your commitment to God. This story is a story that needs to be told. I'm so grateful you guys were willing to come on Lucas Live and share your story so openly, so transparently with us in the audience. Everybody on here has enjoyed. They're laughing. They're putting up hands of worship. They're just into it, having a great time. They rode with us the whole way. So many people were here with us today. I know so many of your family and friends and followers and people who love Sugar Babies, they don't play. They will meet you in an alley. I know I did. I don't know where you be like, it'd be some crazy. You told me to meet you at the club once. I was like, well, I don't normally go to the club, but if I have to.
Oh, no, we did.
Y'all did. I was like, meet me at the M Bar. I was like, my wife don't like me to be at the M Bar this time of night, but if I have to, you know, so I told my wife, I got dressed and I went to the M Bar. No, but I met you in the parking lot.
We met at Dillard's, okay? It was Dillard's.
Oh, yes, that's right. We met behind the M Bar at Dillard's, and you guys have come to my house. You guys have met us at Target. We want to support you guys. Do you guys know, just for the Ohio family, is there an estimated time that you might return to Ohio, that those of us in Ohio might once again partake in the delicious Sugar Baby enterprise? When might we be blessed with sugar babies again? I don't like the silence. That's hurting our feelings.
I don't know. It's hard. It's hard right now. Well, maybe when it stops snowing, we might be interested
ouch.
in that.
All right, show's over.
We got a lot of going on down here, and y'all still got snow. Ain't doing it. Ain't coming
in the snow. All right, yeah, it was snowing yesterday, and maybe today.
I'd say if I had to put a date on it, I'd say within the next 30 to 60 days.
Okay.
Hopefully we'll make a trip up. Once things loosen up, and folks feeling a little bit good. Keena really just started baking for customers down here within the last week or so, because she kind of had took a pause from it as well, so we could work on some stuff. So we just now getting back into it, but
beautiful.
It's a blessing. And just from a husband perspective, I'll say that it's one of those things for us where she supported me in a lot of what I've been doing, and it's like my turn now to support her. But I don't see it as anything separate, because again, if she's in the kitchen baking, then the way I help is maybe I entertain the kids, or I clean up around her, or I go run an errand and get some butter or some ingredients. It's like she said, the whole family is a part of it. Like the kids are on all the journeys and all the trips for us when we going up to Ohio, when we lost all our luggage and part of her baking supplies on the middle of the freeway. They sitting in there like, what y'all gonna do, Dad? And, so the kids, like she said, don't change what we're trying to do. Let them enjoy being a part of it, because one day they're going to tell kids about, man, grandma and grandpa, they was out there getting it. They had us on the road, in the middle of the night trying to, build this dream. So it's one of those things where it can be fun for everybody. Yeah. Everybody can play a part. And you just have to be allowing or accepting of that, and you have to want that. And that's really a large part of what's worked well for us.
Love it, love it, love it. You two are amazing. We all love you here. We look forward to when you guys are going to start shipping cookies as well. Someone just said that in the comments. Lucas Live will be a part of it. If you need some sponsors, some help, listen, I've been telling y'all from the beginning.
Lucas Live.
Yes. Yes.
The next goal for Sugar Babies is a food truck. So once we get a food truck, I believe that will qualify as a commercial kitchen, and then we will be able to ship. So that's the next goal. So pray for us for that.
We will be praying, and I'm telling you guys, since I started this show, I've met some of the most fascinating people. I've met people in all kinds of different businesses, all kinds of different industries, with all kinds of levels of income, all kinds of different type of investors, and all kinds of different people. I just had a fascinating conversation with somebody today, with somebody who has some money that they look to invest, and who knows? But, you and I, Dave and I text every other day anyway already. Keena and I always stay in touch. And, I would love to help you guys in any way we can. We will always support you guys here on the show. We will always shout you out. When you guys come to town, let us know. We'll run commercials and ads and tell everybody and have you guys on again to make sure we spread the word. We want to support your business. We love what you guys are doing. We love your love for God. We love your love for each other and for your family. You guys are an example to so many. Thank you so much for being my guest today. And thank you for being my friends. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. We love you. Thanks for having us.
Thank y'all.
It was a pleasure and a joy. Everybody's praying. Everybody jumped in. They said they praying. We got a prayer chain going. It's going down. It's about to happen. Once the prayer starts to happen, and Keena, all you got to do is make a list. Apparently, you just tell God what you want.
Okay, you are right. Listen, somebody just told me that. Make a list, sis, of what you want. You're right.
It's worked all this time.
Right.
I know it's been working so far, apparently, really nicely, for you. It's really been working for you. So thank you guys so much again. Thank you for being on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, don't miss tomorrow's episode. We have comedian Marcus Martin. He's going to break down the anatomy of a joke. If you ever thought you were funny and wanted to learn how to write a joke, he's going to break that down for us. He's going to tell his story about how he got into the comedy game from Canton, Ohio, and living with his father in the summers and being exposed to comedy in a comedy club at a young age. Don't miss Marcus Martin tomorrow. Then on Wednesday, we have Val B. King, the granddaughter of the great B.B. King. She's in the music game. She's singing. She's putting out music. Tell your mom, tell your grandma, tell everybody that B.B. King's granddaughter is out here doing music. And you younger people, get on here and celebrate and enjoy what she's putting out. And then on Thursday, we have Super Bowl winning wide receiver Dominic Hickson, who will be on the show, won a Super Bowl, beat the undefeated New England Patriots as a member of the New York Giants. He'll be on telling his fascinating story and about life after football, how he built his business. Please don't miss the show every day, Sunday through Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, here on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and LinkedIn, at Lucas Tyndale, at Lucas Live Media. Thank you guys so much for another wonderful episode. Dave and Keena, again, thank you guys for being here. Everybody have a great